Welcome to another edition of Talk City Greensboro, produced by GTN, featuring interviews and events happening around town. It's an easy way to stay in the know while you're on the go. Subscribe to Talk City on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or SoundCloud so you can keep up with what's going on in Greensboro City government. I'm your host, Josh Johnson, and as always, actually not as always, very unlike as always, I'm at the table today with several other people. So I'm going to introduce my mini co-host today first. Carlos Castellanos, who is a producer here. Rosemary Plyman, who is also a producer and personality here and a good friend of ours. And Mr. Jake Keys, a former co-host.
That's it.
Yeah. And Mr. Jake Keys.
And Jake.
And Jake. So they're all here, and we've got Devin here in the guest seat. So take it away, Carlos.
All right. What's up, Greensboro? We want to thank you for listening to our conversations each week. We always appreciate you tuning into the show, and we hope you enjoy it. Today's a little different, somewhat bittersweet. Today, Talk City Greensboro honors its producer, host, engineer, writer, researcher, social media manager, the man at the controls, and our very good friend, Mr. Devon Smith.
Hey.
Welcome, Devin.
That was a long list of responsibilities.
I finally worked it back in. Yeah, that was my intro that I've not been doing for a long time.
Devin will be starting a new adventure soon, and while we're all very excited for that, we to see what Devin accomplishes, we're very sad to see him go. So, Devin, welcome to your
guest
podcast.
chair.
In the hot
Welcome to the
seat.
different chair.
Yeah. It feels a little weird on this side.
Yeah?
Yeah. I feel like everybody's staring at me.
We are.
We are. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, people don't realize this before. He should have actually been back in that chair setting this whole thing up. But
Yeah. I'm at the controls today, which has complicated things long before we started rolling. So, Jake, why don't you give us this first question? Because, I mean, you've seen everything that Devin has kind of done while he was here. So,
Absolutely. Devin, you've made your mark here with the city, especially with these award-winning productions and creative ideas. You've left an impression on all of us, and all of us have had the pleasure of working with you. So what will you miss the most? And then, what will you miss the least, if anything?
And who will you miss the most?
Well,
and who will you miss the least?
well, clearly that question was meant for me to say that I will miss Rosemary the absolute most, right?
Sharp.
Sharp.
Well, that answer was written in.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But I would say, as far as just activities, absolutely the podcast. That was something that was when it came up, and I guess I saw the script, so we'll talk about the origin of it later.
Yeah, don't answer it too thoroughly.
Just the podcast, it was so lighthearted and fun and informal, and it didn't have to be so perfect. And I think it gave a lot of people the opportunity to come in and just kind of be themselves and still give some of the same information that you would give on any other news network or through any other press release, but just be able to kind of have fun with it. And even with the more serious topics, it was really easy to just kind of say it in a more lighthearted way, a more conversational way versus trying to be straight to the facts or strictly to certain talking points. You were able to kind of fill in some of the blanks of maybe why one certain thing was happening or wasn't happening. It was a lot easier for people to just kind of put that information out there.
A lot of different, much different than a 6:30 a.m. live stand-up.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the phone with Jake going, okay, now what am I supposed to not say or say?
And I mean, I got to meet a lot of people, even people that I already knew. I've got to know more about them through the podcast. As far as things that I would miss the least,
all right, now there is something put in there in parentheses.
Well, we definitely can take a roll down memory lane as far as Josh's intros to the podcast. And then, city council meetings sometimes can get pretty lengthy.
that's what I said. We well know the answer. It's council meetings.
Yeah, some of them are pretty interesting, though.
Oh no, now it can get interesting. It's just once it hits about 9:30, 10 o'clock, it's like, all right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah. So, Rosemary, you've done a lot of productions with Devin, so why don't you pitch him this next question?
Yeah, I just wonder, do you have a favorite project? I mean, I know, of course, the podcast is one of them, but a favorite video project that you've done?
Yeah,
or story or personality or place you've been?
Again, I think that I should probably pick a Rosemary production.
I was going to say,
So-
coming up is a list of
It's all right. You
Rosemary
can make a
shows.
run out of here if you need it.
But no, seriously, Gate City Flavor,
Yeah.
which I'll tell the story of that show took forever to get approved. it was in the making for a while, and I believe it was kind of in the making before I even got here. 'Cause
Yeah.
Josh, you
Kinda
wanted to do
predated.
something, right?
Yeah. I talked about a food-centered show. but-
Yeah.
Honestly, a food show predated you, Josh. So,
Yeah,
it's been,
yeah.
it's been
I mean,
a long
it's a big
time.
And
thing.
so it was an idea that I had, and I was like, "Hey, Rose, well, first you helped me shoot the proof of performance for it. We couldn't find a host, and it was like, well, we don't want to like run Rosemary into the ground because she was doing This Is
Yeah.
Greensboro, and I think we had just started Gate City Insider and things like that, and it was just like, but this show needs to be done, and so Rosemary helped me out getting that on the ground and done, and so I thought it should have been called What's for Lunch. I thought that would have been cool. But Gate City Flavor was born, and I think that is just a really great show. We get to go into people's kitchens. We get to eat.
Yeah.
We get to eat people's great food.
At some of the most delicious places in
Yeah.
Greensboro.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
And
mean,
the story behind the food.
Yeah.
getting the chef's story, getting to know them a little bit more, going to their restaurants after we shoot and them waving at like, hey, how you doing? A lot of them still recognize me when I walk through the door. So now they recognize my children and my wife and things
Aw.
like that. So that's probably one of my favorite shows. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think as far as the title goes, I think you have a mandate to have Gate City in there somewhere. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
We got to keep it
Jay?
close to 20 minutes, guys.
I don't have a show that doesn't have Gate City in it.
that's right.
So
now that you're down to your last couple days, it's time to start talking about it. Let's air the grievances.
yeah, the trauma of titling shows.
So, Carlos, why don't you find out where he's going and what his next adventure is?
All right, Devin,
Josh asked the question.
Sorry.
where are you going? And what's your next adventure?
Yeah, so
Sorry, Carlos.
It's all right.
so I don't really know. I mean, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. I didn't necessarily. My goal was never to really just leave the city, but an opportunity presented itself where I could go, and I felt like I could make a change. So I'll be taking my talents to the University of Elon. No, so I'll be starting a job at Elon University as their communications specialist between the university communications department and the inclusive diversity and equity division that they call inclusive excellence. So I'll be working with both of those agencies as a liaison between the both of them to make sure that their messaging is on point with the brand that they want to create when it comes to DE&I. So that's what I will be doing. Hopefully I can make a great change over there.
I'm sure you will.
Take the tools that I've learned here and take them there. But like I said, it is bittersweet. The city's been there for me a lot as an organization. The people, the organization itself. And so it wasn't an easy decision, but it was one that I thought would be good for my career moving forward. I can definitely see myself back here.
Nice.
There are
That's
no
cool.
hard feelings or
No,
ill will.
no.
I'm not leaving as a disgruntled employee.
You're very
You still got a
gruntled.
week, so
I can't say that if I do or not. I've got to wait. Do I get an exit interview?
This is it.
This is the exit interview.
It's being recorded. So.
all exit interviews are broadcast on a podcast.
Well, if that's the case, yeah, I love this place. No, seriously, I really loved being here. I loved working with the people that I got to work with, you four in particular, but so many more that I got to work with pretty regularly. That was very, very enjoyable. So you will all be missed I'll be back to visit sometimes.
Good.
Sure.
Yeah, and you've been working hard to be in this position. I mean, going to school and
No
you're
doubt.
teaching some, and I mean,
Yeah.
really to put yourself in this position.
Yeah, so academia is really, to me, very similar to local government. The only difference is I think that while local government in many facets is, outward facing, what we do here is so much like, even though our messaging goes out to the community, we work internally a lot. We do go out in the community, but our job here is really to get the information from certain departments or certain agencies to the community, versus what I will be doing will be a mixture of working with students, working with faculty, working with the community that Elon is based in, to really change maybe the perception that some people have of Elon and the student base, making sure that everybody has a comfortable experience there. And so that's kind of the goals that I have moving into that position. And so it was an easy transition after getting a master's degree in communications and teaching a little bit. It was a really easy transition to get into academia. So it felt like a comfortable shift. Yeah.
Cool. Well, as we're going on here, before we kind of get to the last question and kind of wrap things up, we've got another guest, a co-host who has slipped in to say hey to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Carla Banks is here. She stopped by to jump onto the show and maybe ask a few questions, or at least thank Devin for everything that he's done.
Of course, I wouldn't miss this. Devin, it seems like you've been here forever.
Well, if that's the case, it seems like you've been here forever.
I know. And we have that mutual start date. We
Yep.
came in together and had employee orientation, and it was just funny to see you there. And then we ended up being in the same department.
That was the weirdest thing. If you ever want a weird
kinda
experience, have orientation with your boss.
Your boss's boss.
Well, actually, yeah, with your boss's boss. So, like, I mean, you talk about, starting a relationship. It's either on the right foot or the wrong foot.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it was the right foot.
It
Oh,
was
absolutely. But,
definitely the right
it
foot.
was, I was like, I was just sitting there, and then they were like, Carla, and they said her title. I was like, hold on. Wait. Let me
looking at your
straighten-
badge.
Right. Wait a minute.
That's the department that I work for. So yeah, it was funny to kind of learn and realize that I was in there with my department director. So that was cool.
Nice.
Well, Devin, it has really been a thrill and just a pleasure to have you as part of our team, and really the uniqueness of you coming in and this being your first job out of college. I just feel like between that and the growth that you've had since you've been here and now this new opportunity, we're just so thrilled and excited for you, and you're really the example of what we look for in terms of course, we want to keep you here at the city, but, you're young and you're making those moves, and I think being here at the city, I hope, was a springboard for where you're going.
Absolutely, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm young, Josh.
Yeah. Hey, man, use it.
Any of us can argue that point.
Use it or lose it.
I mean, some of my favorite shows, Jake, getting to learn a little bit about his background.
Yep.
Let's think about that. We got Chuck Watts in as kind of like talking about his history and how he was, his family lineage in Durham, which is a crazy civil rights movement type spot. We've had some good shows. We've had some guests that's been on TV with Ashley, one of GPD's.
That's right. Yeah.
She was one of the first. She was on Titan Games.
Yep.
So yeah, we've had some really great shows that.
And Rosemary was a guest once.
Absolutely.
Maybe more than once.
Yeah, it was weird. Looking back over it, we started off with you reading a piece of paper as news. We've had some that had like council connections when we were doing that wrapped in there. When you were doing the segment on FYI around the town, that was wrapped in there. And it was like a 30-minute show. And then we pared it down to more of this interview style, which was really good. And I think it turned out to be great. And I hope it continues to feel fun even after I'm gone.
Well, It will. Not quite as much fun, but it'll be fun in a new way.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Josh, I've got just two quick things.
Yeah,
man, if
you guys
let me
go,
jump
go.
in. So, one, I think this is the first time you all invited me down where it wasn't a sports-centric podcast. I feel like anytime that's a topic, I get that call.
Yeah,
But second,
that's true.
Devin, this feels pretty apropos of the first time I met you was in this same office suite, sitting at a table, but you were here for your interview.
Yeah.
And I think we made the right call
Yeah.
with you, and so I kind of like that we're sitting back at a table here as your time winds down and
Yeah.
spending a little time with you again.
Yeah. It comes full circle,
yeah. Yes, it
and
does.
we're sitting at a circle table.
at the round table.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, that pretty much does it. Devin, you want to do the sign out one more time together?
Sure, I don't have it memorized.
There you go.
We've done it for 3 years.
Don't feel bad. Neither have I.
Well, stay tuned in weekly by subscribing to Talk City Greensboro on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And don't forget, you can download the podcast from SoundCloud.
That's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in to Talk City. Be sure to watch GTN, your official source for news and information about the city of Greensboro. GTN is available on Spectrum Channel 13,
AT&T U-verse, Channel 99.
and North State Channel 31.
GTN streams live on Roku and the city's website at greensboro-nc.gov.
All right, Devin, it's been a pleasure, buddy.
Thank you so much.